America, we have a problem. Jojo Siwa
has a new haircut.
Eek.
Let's focus instead on a more practical, more attainable peace.
Magical place. America.
We're going to South Carolina and Oklahoma.
I've been sleeping with a teacher for 38 years.
Pull me by my waist. Like Legally Blondola.
Go to California and Texas.
Hello, no ho, okay.
And New York. And we're going to South Dakota and Oregon.
Dark side.
Without the banana.
And then we're going to Washington, D.C. to take back the White House.
Hello?
America, we have a problem.
Okay, so how are you doing today, Luke?
You know, I'm doing pretty good. How are you, Carson?
I'm doing okay. I've been doing my honors thesis work.
What's your thesis? Tell
it's
the people.
on rural Illinois.
Yes.
Yeah, rural. Yeah. It's about studying like poverty
In rural Illinois?
Yeah.
Nice. And how's that going for you?
It's going. Okay.
Welcome back to America. We have a problem.
Welcome back to America. We have a problem.
Hello, what are you doing?
Hello, what are you doing?
Not him copying me.
Not him copying.
Anyways, today we are going to be discussing two topics.
I want a nap.
Thank you, Carson. We can take a nap after we film. Oh, sorry, the headphone users.
Boring.
We're going to be talking about two main topics, and we will be splitting them up with a little game. So, yeah, we're excited to be back. Episode 2, we're continuing it. We've been working hard, and we're looking forward to bringing you episode 2. Our two topics that we're going to be talking about today are tariffs and some war plans that may or may not have been leaked on a group chat. We've all been there. So, without further ado, let's get the ball rolling today. My co-host is falling asleep.
Sorry.
Because tariffs are so boring, guys. I don't know how you're going to sit through it.
What's happening? I had no sleep last night.
Anyways, today we will be discussing two different topics with a fun little game in between. So, let's get the ball rolling.
Yes.
Our first topic of the day is tariffs. So, Carson, as the economics major here in the room, can you explain to our audience, what a tariff is and why it would be important now?
The dictionary definition is tariffs are taxes imposed by one country on goods imported from another country. I think that's boring.
It is kind of boring.
Boring! Okay.
How would you explain a tariff?
Okay, so basically tariffs are like trade barriers, Tariff is, in essence, a tax. A tax on your candy, your bra. You want to go to Victoria's Secret? You want to go get your panties? Taxed.
Right.
Have you gotten some panties from Victoria's Secret?
I can't say I have recently.
Yeah. I haven't either. Yeah. I went to Victoria's Secret one day, though, and I asked, where's the men's section? And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, where's the men's section? They didn't have it.
Yeah, no. Usually they don't at that one.
They don't.
No. Usually you go to, I don't know, not Victoria's Secret.
Oh.
But, hey.
Well,
whatever floats your boat.
Speaking of taxes, not only is Victoria's Secret tax, but you want to go to Hobby Lobby, your little owl craft that you're trying to make taxed.
Yeah,
that's basically what it is.
So Carson, they put on these taxes essentially.
Yes.
Why would a government impose tariffs on other countries? What would be what's
sometimes
the
it's a
goal?
big FU, Sometimes it's because they want to bring some jobs back. For example, nowadays, tariffs are used to compensate for the fact of the jobs lost. So you see, whenever you go on your hat and it has made in China, or your clothes made in Vietnam, the majority of clothes are made in these third world countries, quote unquote third world, because that is a derogatory term nowadays. but these countries that are underdeveloped, and a lot of the rich corporations are moving to stay away from taxes, to stay away from these labor standards, to protect people's rights when they are working so they don't get their hands chopped off. And they're moving. But that makes sure that these people who are typically factory workers or whatever, they're suffering. They're suffering big time because they lost their jobs to individuals hundreds of thousands of miles away.
So essentially with the tariff,
Yeah.
the general idea that they try to do is, kind of like you said, a big FU to
Yes.
other countries, taxing the imports from those countries. However, why don't you explain a little bit how that might affect the people here in America if we tariff another country's goods?
Well, look at it this way. I am trying to buy my daughter a Barbie doll. That Barbie doll was made in China. That is taxed 25% because the government said anything that comes from China will be taxed 25%, or in other terms, tariffed 25%. Because a tariff is a tax imposed on the other country. But more often than not, it's passed on to the consumer. Of course, different corporations have different mechanisms to compensate for that. However, the majority of the price increase is because of the tariffs, and the corporations have to move it on to the customer because they can't take within all of the costs associated with the increase in the tariff in terms of their products they're importing from other countries.
So would you say a big goal from that too would be trying to get some of these corporations to move out of those countries and come back to America?
But I think there's different beliefs on the benefits of that. Some people believe that we need to bring back different corporations from these different countries because of poor labor standards, because there are children who are working. While some people want money to come back in terms of corporations, in terms of big business, in terms of for example, Apple, they want Microsoft, they want Tesla even. They want all of these different corporations to come back to build the national wealth. However, some people want to tariff these countries because they don't want people suffering in these countries for the sake that we're benefiting. I'm wearing something that a child basically suffered to make, if that makes sense. Yeah. So there's two different ideas and beliefs rooted in why do we tariff. But in essence, yes, to bring back corporations here. However, there are grave negatives to it, and that is, I really think, the price increases. And we are seeing that already in terms of gas and in terms of other products, and it's just going to get worse in terms of price increases. However, it's all about the long term, according to Donald Trump and tariff proponents. Now, is that true? It's a waiting game right now.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Yeah, I would say so, because you can also say, it's long term while stuff rises now and still gain support, because you can tell your people, it'll be there.
Yeah.
Because it'll be there later. I do think, I see the idea of it and why it could be a popular
Proposal,
idea to tariff.
Yeah, idea.
Now I'm not a big economics guy. That's not my big.
Yeah, I'm
piece.
not either.
So's the economics major here. But yeah, I can see how.
Yeah.
The idea can be
Appealing.
a good one. It can be appealing. We're gonna
think about the people who are suffering in terms of their jobs were offshore to this African nation. This is a metaphor, and this is an analogy. So don't come after me for not being factually correct. But think about Jim and John, who are working in a factory, and they basically lost their jobs to the African children. They're pissed, so they're going to vote for someone who says, you know what, we are going to tax these nations that are rewarding this type of behavior and stuff like that. We're going to get you your jobs back. and stuff like that. So, yeah, there are good economic benefits for tariffs. A lot of these, so what in economics terms, they're called idle industries. These are industries which are struggling to kind of make an impact, kind of put their roots in the ground. So that some car industries, some pharmaceutical industries, their competitors are offshoring big time. But if they're getting taxed and the people who are stuck are here trying to make a living, trying to build their businesses, they're going to get the people because their prices are not going to increase, if that makes sense. So small businesses are definitely going to see a benefit. However, their materials that they're selling are going to be tariffed. So it's going to even out.
Yeah.
You know, this is why I personally think the tariffs are good in some aspects, but you have to be very strategic with it.
Right.
And you also need to make sure that other foreign countries are not taking this as an FU.
Right.
And I think that goes into the other point of international relations and how, you know, it may just harm international relations like we are seeing right now in terms of the EU, the European Union, in terms of the UK, in terms of Canada and Mexico. And you are the foreign policy guy, so explain your view as a more Republican-leaning guy, but also as an American, while also as someone who understands the foreign policy stage.
Yeah. So tariffs, like we've said before, can be interpreted and essentially is a big FU to that country.
Yeah.
Now, certain countries, it can be a benefit when I want to use this term lightly, enemies. I've never been a fan of calling, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, like me and you.
Like what? However, in terms of countries like, I did not hear that. In terms of countries like,
just laugh.
In terms of countries like Canada and Mexico, it can really, really, really hurt relations between our two countries when we go in there and tariff a country that, that we've been
they really
close
should have
with.
tariffed Monica Lewinsky because the relations wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, the relations under the Resolute desk. Put a tariff. That's crazy. That you got that.
Yeah, Monica Lewinsky.
Shout out to your podcast, by the way. I'm a listener. I'm a fan.
Really? She has a podcast?
Yeah, she does have a podcast. It's pretty good. But yeah, it can really hurt relations with other countries, like we are seeing right now with us in Canada and Mexico. Those are some big countries, and as a Republican, I would have to say I'm not a big fan. I know, what? Ew. Yuck. I'm not a fan of that.
You're not a fan of what?
Of tariffing Canada and Mexico.
But wasn't that like a big major point under his proposals?
I don't have to agree with everything. I don't have to agree with everything.
Just kidding.
Anyways.
No, but I do agree with that.
Now, here's one other thing with tariffs. I do think it can be beneficial in terms of maybe using it just as a threat, right? Like, oh, I'm going to tariff you, and then a country gets scared, and then you pull it out. That is where I think it can be really beneficial if, But
it gets to become a slippery slope, because what if this other nation's like, you know what? I don't care if it's a threat. I'm doing this, and I'm doing it forever.
Right.
Like,
it can be
for a longer period of time.
And it depends if the country, now the country could see that you've done that 2 times already, where you threaten a country with a tariff, and then they're like, okay, you're not going to do that. So it is a slippery slope there, but that is another way that a tariff can be leveraged without really truly affecting the economy, just using it as a leverage point.
But I really think that if you're trying to balance peace on the world stage, you cannot have tariffs.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to balance domestic policy, if you're trying to balance domestic manufacturing and bringing those jobs back, tariffs could be a great idea. But for certain things, but you got to make sure that prices stay down, and you could do that in different ways, whether that be supply chain, making sure that places are having trains to here without tons of with tons of what am I talking about? With tons of distance.
Yeah.
Like in terms of distance, supply chain, if there's a longer distance between one state and another state and you're bringing goods to each other, it's going to take a while, and the prices are going to actually increase, because if the demand is there and supply is not there at that moment, it's going to increase.
So that's basically what we got on tariffs for
That's
today.
basically tariffs.
If you have any questions on tariffs or something we did not cover that you'd like to know, or you want to inquire about,
make sure to email djt at gmail.
Insane.
Make sure to email djt at gmail.com. That is DJT Donald John Trump.
It's a real email, guys.
At gmail.com.
Your mic is off.
That is DGT.
Anyways, where you can really find us is on our Instagram. DM us. You can also put it, if you're watching on YouTube, put it in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you guys.
Yeah.
Well, now, Carson, we're going to transition into our fun little game. But before we do, Carson, we have some opportunities for our listeners.
Yes. If you are listening, not only are you hearing the beauty of our voices,
right,
the wonderful knowledge that we have to share to you about tariffs.
There's a lot.
There's a
knowledge.
lot.
So anyways, what are some opportunities for our listeners to get more involved?
So we have a Buy My Coffee, 2 memberships. One is the representative membership. You can get exclusive deals. And then we have the cabinet membership, where you can get merch and other sort of different cameos and updates and stuff like that. They're for a monthly price. However, if you want to just give us a few dollars or something, that will definitely help us in terms of equipment, in terms of bringing this podcast and putting it out to the more audiences and more people, and also making sure that we get a team and especially pay our wonderful editor. And
so definitely check that out. If you have any questions,
on our linktree.
Let us know. So, as we transition into our second topic for the day, we're going to be playing a little game.
A game, you say?
So, Carson, how is the game going to work?
So, a game is where one person and another
person, or they can be a group of people, play a certain event. This event is based on skill.
Okay,
no. Challenge at hand, and it's based on what's the reward. Sometimes it's about luck.
Okay, I think they get what a game is. How our game is going to work. Our wonderful editor, Riley, is going to play a little clip for us, and we are going to have to guess that politician. So we are playing Guess That Politician. Are you ready?
Guess That Politician. I really think I'm going to win this.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Apparently, they're politicians that we should know, right? So let's see. And before we get going, when we know who that politician is, we have to grab the picture of Harriet Tubman first, and we get to answer. If we get it wrong,
let's practice. Wait, make a noise.
No practice.
Okay.
Yes.
And I want you to know that also I will.
Ronald Reagan. Correct. 1 point, Luke.
Actual billionaire. Trump is rich.
J.B. Pritzker. J.B.
Dang
Pritzker.
it took me a second on that one. Yeah.
Now he's acting like he wants to debate me again. Well, make my day.
Joe Biden. We each get a half a point.
We each get
1.5.
A decent person and a person that you do not have.
This is George H.W. Bush.
Dang it. Wait, can I hear it again? Wait, let me hear it.
Have to be scared as president of the United States. Now I just.
Oh no! John McCain.
Oh, I know that clip too. Dang it.
Fact check him in real time. Last time at the first debate, we had millions of people fact checking, so I expect we'll have millions.
Hillary Clinton during their debate in 2016. 2.5 to 2.5. What? Ready? Yeah.
Greatest nation.
Ann Richards, former Texas governor. I love her so much. She's one of the greatest.
Okay, put Harriet back. Dang, she doesn't want to hear you cry. Get over it.
A lot of people here of all ages who are trapped by their phones. And
Michelle Obama.
She's not even a politician. That doesn't count.
Okay, but she's relevant. She's relevant.
Whatever.
Okay, this is the last one. Right?
Okay.
I'm the model of a modern major general, the venerated Virginian veteran whose men are all lining up to put me up on a pedestal.
George Washington.
Yes.
I win.
That's not fair.
It is fair. It's George Washington.
That wasn't George Washington. That was Diggs.
That's not to be Diggs.
What's his name?
I forgot who played him.
Diggs? Is that his name?
No. David Diggs plays Jefferson. That is George Washington from the musical Hamilton.
Fake news.
Well, that concludes our little game. That was a lot of fun. We're going to put Harriet back.
Count. Stop the count. War.
And not the card game. This transitions into our second topic of the day, which is a little controversy that's going on right now, including war plans.
Yeah, it's war plans. Honestly, I don't get why the heck there's a group chat. Well, yeah, so we'll be talking about war today. Let's play a clip for the people listening.
Major fallout in Washington over the bombing of Houthi targets across Yemen. Not because of the actual attacks on the Iranian-backed terrorist organization, but because top national security officials accidentally included the editor-in-chief of The Atlantic in text chains ahead of the military strikes, which he says laid out the specifics of targets, timing, and weapons.
They were running a war plan on a messaging app and didn't even know who was invited into the conversation.
Multiple high-level officials appear to be on the text chain on the messaging app Signal, including Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, National Security Advisor Mike Waltz, and Vice President J.D. Vance. Although a spokesman for the National Security Council said the message thread appears to be authentic, Hegseth said this Monday night.
Nobody was texting war plans, and that's all I have to say about that.
A few hours after The Atlantic published the story, President Trump was asked about it at the White House.
I don't know anything about it. You're telling me about it for the first time.
Democratic leaders are now calling for an investigation.
So essentially what went down, there were some war plans from the Trump administration that were being texted about in a group chat among high... Yeah.
Is that a word?
Texted.
Text is a word?
Texted. That were texted.
They
were texting in a group chat some different war plans that involved bombing Yemen. Damn. And they accidentally added a number of a journalist. And all these plans were leaked. All of the...
Well,
everything was leaked because that's what a journalist does, and why would you not? That's some gold.
So here's a little insight into it. In a new article published Wednesday morning, Jeffrey Goldberg, the magazine's editor-in-chief with The Atlantic, posted pictures of messages with Hegseth, who is the Department of Defense, which was a whole ordeal in getting him confirmed. Sent the chat, which included President Donald Trump's highest-level national security officials, including Tulsi Gabbard, Mike Waltz, John Ratcliffe, is that his name?
Yeah.
John Ratcliffe, and other people, especially, and also Vice President J.D. Vance. So this was basically the planned launch, and they were talking about this planned launch times of F-18s and Tomahawks, which are missiles. Goldberg discovered the chat in mid-March when Mike Waltz, Trump's top national security advisor, accidentally added him. This is according to USA Today. So, Jeffrey Goldberg goes and says, the world found out shortly before 2 p.m. Eastern Time on March 15th that the United States was bombing Houthi targets across Yemen. I, however, know 2 hours before the first bombs exploded that attack might be coming. The reason I know this is that Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, had texted me the war plan at 11:44 a.m. The plan included precise information about weapons, packages, targets, and timing.
That's right. So
crazy.
Let's break this down. First off, number one.
Yeah.
Yes. Big failure. Not a good look. Just overall bad.
He should not have won.
Too bad. Oh. Anyways. Number two. It is kind of funny that they were texting in a group chat because, I don't know.
Did you see the emojis?
Yeah. With the American flag and
the was like it was a fist.
Yeah, the fist. Let me be so for real. I would probably text in a group chat. I'm not even gonna lie.
I honestly wouldn't. I would do it via like phone call.
Yeah, not necessarily plans. That's a good point.
Why would you text a war plan? Imagine Napoleon fucking texting about invading like Russia.
They didn't have phones.
I understand that, but think about that. Think about a general texting about this stuff. They could easily go in the hands of the wrong person.
I feel like there's been group chats about this stuff for a long time.
100%, but it's quite stupid because this stuff can happen.
I agree. I think it's not a good idea to be doing this. No. However, this isn't the first time it's been done, and it's not the first president to have it done. However, it is the first to have it leaked. So, it shows that it can be a dangerous plan because anybody could add anybody, right? So that's a very...
And we actually were in the group chat.
We were. And, I actually knew, and I didn't want to come forth about it, so I'm really sorry.
We actually sent, pictures of us smiling.
And we sent them a link to our podcast. We were like, guys, check it out.
Guys,
check it out.
And they were like, why are you guys smiling? And we were like, what's happening? We just are really happy that we were able to get into this wonderful exclusive group chat, and we want to show you our podcast. Yeah.
So
and we have memberships on buyuscoffee.com.
They kicked us out, but it's okay. But yeah, overall, that's what I think about that. It's not the first time that they've texted about it, but it shows that it's not a great idea to do that.
Do you think it's because it was a mistake, or do you think it's just because they are legitimately I wouldn't say dumb, but not really professional?
I do think it was a mistake. I think... I wouldn't necessarily call them not professional as a whole.
Yeah.
This was not a professional way to do the mission.
Yeah.
Now, if things like this keep happening, then I think there's a real, then we can start talking about that. I do think it's a big error. And the fact that a national security advisor was on that is concerning because we've got to nip that in the butt. Was Donald Trump on the group chat?
Probably not.
No,
the vice president was.
I don't think a president can have a phone like that, actually.
No.
So I'm interested to see where this goes. Definitely a big failure. Not the first time, and honestly, probably not the last time they're going to text in a group chat like this.
But here's the thing: it depends on what you're going to be talking about. If you're talking about a legislation activity that you want to do, who cares? But if you're doing something involving life or death, in terms of military, you should be talking at the very most on a phone call.
And
if you're going to do something technology
and military involving a foreign country.
100%. Because what if a bad actor's on that group chat?
Yeah.
What if a reporter for some foreign a foreign news station got a hold of this?
Yeah.
And they could have sold it to the targets that we are trying to target.
Yeah. It's not a good
look
idea.
Either.
It's not a good look.
And
wherever you stand on the political spectrum,
it is. Yeah, I think everyone agrees that how stupid it was,
and it's not a good look for the U.S. as well.
But do you think there should be repercussions?
I do. Yes, I think if I was in that position, obviously you can't fire the vice president. That's not. But
the vice president did it.
Right, the vice president, and in fact, he's against. It was very telling.
It was crazy because when you see the messages, it's actually him. He's kind of playing devil's advocate for the other side.
Yes, And so I think there's certain advisors that if they're not in an official role, I would
take them out of these quote-unquote professional group chats.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily fire them right on the spot for the one thing, but I would take them out of group chats. I would take them out of certain plans.
Yeah, because, I mean, we have done that to a lot of our friends.
Yeah.
You know?
We've taken them out of a lot of group chats.
I think it's pretty easy to do so.
I really want to go through, like, when they found out, like, the heart sinking. Like, because you ever, like, you're texting about someone and then you're like, oh, shoot, I sent those screenshots to the same person. And your heart drops. You're like, well, shoot. Like, I want to know what that felt like.
You literally just sent a whole entire mission plan to a random dude.
I would throw up. That's... And then imagine that dude, that journalist. There's some really good TikToks. Highly recommend looking at them. I sent you one, but imagine the journalist getting that. Like, you just got a raise, you just got a promotion. Like, that is some golden stuff, and that's a journalist's dream.
That's not even like your fault. Like no, like positively, you're like you did that.
You look on your phone, you're like, oh snap, I got something to report on. Let's write a story. So yeah, that's what I think about that.
I think it's just. Do you think that someone should be fired? Or demoted or
so there needs to be some repercussions.
I really think it just shows a lack of professionalism. Like, no matter, like, this is not just a political thing. I mean, if you like do this type of things and have mistakes that are pretty serious, you should at least apologize.
Yeah.
No one's apologizing. Everyone's trying to cover it up.
Yeah.
Apologizing is definitely like not even half of it, but like be like, this is a shitty mistake on our administration's behalf. This is what we're going to do. And this is the steps that we're going to take. And then you compensate for that.
Yeah.
I mean,
when did it come out? Because I don't know if there's been a White House.
No, because I really think that they're trying to just like fizzle their way through it. Because I mean, it just sucks.
Yeah,
you know,
it'll be interesting to see if anything, because this is relatively new. So I don't know if there's been.
Do you think that it would affect like the elections, like these type of things?
It depends. If it's a one and done, no, because a lot of voters have short memories in terms of things like that.
Which sucks, but yeah.
Now, if it was a little bit closer,
but do you think that tariffs, the Canadian and Mexican relations, the consistent issues with Russia trying to take over Ukraine, and we're siding with Russia on this.
I don't know how much it will affect. It's so telling because there's so much time left. However,
there really isn't. There's these Supreme Court elections in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
If you are in Wisconsin, make sure to vote for that because those are big because they are. It's a Supreme Court, and and people need to understand that the federal Supreme Court, it has a lot of jurisdiction, but you know what also has a lot of jurisdiction, and probably even more, the state Supreme Court, the state level, the local level. And,
I think ultimately, and I've said this for a long time, Trump really has 2 years in his presidency. Yeah. Because what's going to happen with the midterms, that's going to be really telling. Mm-hmm. It's either going to be a massive victory for him as president, and it is like this for every president with the midterms. Or it's going to be a big blow, and the next 2 years are pretty much going to be fully ineffective.
What was really different was in the 2022 midterms.
22.
It was supposed to be a blowout for the Democrats, but it wasn't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's really telling. Is that going to be the case in 2026? You know, is there going to be a blowout or going to be a small blue wave? You know, what has been consistent over the years is that through all of these type of things, whether it's foreign policy related, whether it's economic related, or stupid mistakes like these type of mistakes, it shifts it, and voters are like, well, this happened, so this sucks. I'm voting for the other party. This happened. I'm voting for the other party, and it's a seesaw.
And this is why and I've said it so many times, but in the past it's been like Congress is controlled by one party for so long. I don't think we're ever going to see that again. I think it'll just flip because
our generation is going to try to kind of fix that. because I feel like we have experienced that.
Yeah.
Experienced the downfall and the negative effects of that. But I do think that it's not going to change in a while.
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting.
It'll be interesting for sure. Yeah, but kind of going into a third thing that we can talk about before we head out is about these type of midterm elections that are already happening.
Yes.
Actually, they were worried about the Democrats taking over the House in these Republican strongholds because these people in state reps, special elections because of deaths or whatever, Democrats are outperforming Trump's margin. Trump won a state rep or state senate district in Pennsylvania by 15 points, and a Democrat won it by 1. So that's a shift of like almost 16 points.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to think about. So is that a message of what could happen in 2026 in these April 1st midterms? That could be telling.
Yeah, it'll be interesting for sure. But make sure you go out and vote April 1st.
Yeah, April 1st is
or earlier.
It's not even just around here. I mean, April 1st
Everywhere.
in Wisconsin, a lot of local elections. But yeah, so it'll be crazy cool to see, and we'll definitely be talking about it.
Go vote.
Because we'll be releasing this. It'll be Tuesday.
Around there, yeah.
April 1st, we'll be releasing it. But then we'll come back next week. We're gonna do 3 weeks of videos, and then we're gonna go do every other week.
So thank you for sticking it out.
Yep.
And watching.
Preach it.
America,
we have a problem. Make sure to stick with us. Follow us on Instagram, our linktree, and we'll be making sure that we have a mukbang coming to you soon.
Mukbang Monday.
Let
us know what you want us to eat.
Yes, please leave in the comments below. What do you want us to eat on the next few Mondays that we have our mukbangs. All right, thank you so much for watching.
America, we have a problem.
Goodbye.